Hey everyone, it's me, Mr. Mario. This will be the first movie review I am bringing you all, and I don't do these reviews very often. I'd like to, but I only do them over things that I think really need to be reviewed. And this movie has gotten reviewed plenty of times, and everyone is talking about it, but I just loved it so much that I had to put my opinion out there about it. First thing I have to say, when I watched the movie, I loved the cinematography. Just the picture was so sharp on there. There was like jerky cameras and all that, but it just seemed so real to me. That's why I liked it. And it went from professional, like when, for example, when Katniss was in the woods, it was all shaky and everything. While you were in the arena, the cameras were shaky. But like when it was with the game show and such, the cameras were professional. I really liked the cinematography on this. And it almost gave the movie kind of an edgy look with the way they filmed it. I don't want to completely compare it to this, but if you have ever seen the movie Requiem for a Dream, I kept getting like the same feeling with the cinematography there that I got when watching Requiem. I'm not saying they're the same in any way, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, I kind of felt the style was a little similar. The characters, I love them all in the book, except the evil ones. But I did like the characters. They were great. There were a few characters that were left out. Unfortunately, this does happen in book adaptations. It's just something, it's a fact of life. But I felt like it was for the better. And I'll get into that a little later. This is all about the characters right now. Now, I believe every character was played perfectly. And oh my god, Woody Harrelson as Haymitch, that was perfect. And for those people who read the book and have not seen the movie yet, trust me, he does. I was kind of doubtful a little bit, but it's just, he is an excellent Haymitch, and I am so happy he was in the movie. But when I was watching it, whenever he was on screen, I was just expecting Jesse Eisenberg to come around the corner with a shotgun. If you haven't seen Zombieland, you're not gonna get that reference. But this is about the movie, but this was not directly in there. Something I did notice, this didn't bug me, but it kind of caught me off guard. Now, when I read the book, I will be honest, I envisioned all the characters being white. Now, in the movie, in case you don't already know, there are black characters in there. There's 3 black characters. There's Thrash, my bad, and who else? Rue. They're both from District 11, and District 11 seemed primarily black to me. They do show it in the movie. But there was also Cinna, who I was surprised because I thought he would be white, of course, but he ended up being black as well. And I thought all the actors, and both the actors and the actress, they did an excellent job with their roles. And there are people all over the internet, because it's the internet, but like, they are saying stuff like, just, like, I don't know, they're almost making it as if the movie was not that good just because there were black people in there, which I completely disagree with. Okay, the actors were excellent for all 3 of those roles. Probably my favorite was Cinna, to be honest, because the actor who played him just portrayed Cinna perfectly, which I really enjoyed. Now, I'll move on from that, but if you think that the movie was ruined just because the characters were black, then just I don't want you watching this video. Just leave, okay? Because you don't have an open mind, obviously. Now, as for the plot did follow very closely to the book. Now, as I said, there were some characters that were cut. There was one I'm thinking of that was cut. And as I said, I'm not mentioning names or anything, because I don't want to say spoilers, we'll give away any spoilers, but they had to adjust some things, of course, just because it was a movie, well, a book adaptation. But what I really liked about the movie was that there were several things that were thrown in there, and several whole scenes and pieces of the story that were put in the movie that just matched and flowed so well that weren't in the book, and vice versa. There were things in the book that were excellent for it, but they weren't in the movie. And as a viewer, and a reader, I understood what they were doing, and I appreciated it. The things they did multiple changes, I'm trying to say, I don't really want to continue on this because I don't want to give away any spoilers. I'm sorry, I just don't want to give away any spoilers because this is a movie you have to see. But trust me, if you read the book and then you watch the movie, or vice versa, you'll see what I mean. The parts that they cut out of the book, that are exclusive to the book now, were much better if you read them. While as the scenes that were added into the movie that were not in the book are much better if you watch them. And I guarantee if you switch those scenes around, so the new scenes, if you read them, or the parts in the book, if you watch them, that were cut, they would not have been as good on the opposite medium. So that's my opinion on it. I thought they did a fantastic job. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I read before that Suzanne Collins was she was working very closely with the directors, the writers, and all of them. So it was one of those things where she was actually active with them, and if there was something she liked, they would keep it. If there was something she didn't like, they would change it, they would add something to it, they would just do something. So I thought that was just great, because you don't see that often in movies nowadays. Probably, one thing I can say without spoiling anything is that in the book, when you're reading it, when things are going on in the Hunger Games, like the actual arena, you only read about stuff that's going on in there. While as in the movie, they show both the arena and what's going on in the Capitol. And there's a whole room and a group of people dedicated to manipulating everything in the arena, and they actually show that, and they show a lot of President Snow, which I just absolutely loved because it was so great to see that. However, that was one of those things I wouldn't have liked reading about it as much, just because it would keep switching over from Capitol, Hunger Games, Capitol, Hunger Games. While as in the movie, it worked perfectly. Now, a few dislikes about the movie. If you have not read the book, but you watch the movie, there are going to be parts that you really don't understand. I myself read the book and then saw the movie. I was with a friend, and she had not read the book, but she was planning on reading it after watching the movie. And while I was watching it, I was just sitting there, and I'm like, oh, there's things right here, there's stuff going on, I understand this, I get that. But then I was trying to kind of position myself in someone else's shoes who had not read the book. And mainly the flashbacks, because there were flashbacks in the movie, but the problem is they really didn't elaborate on them on film. So if you didn't read the book, then you'd be kind of lost in the flashbacks, and there were several other things. For example, in the book, you would know all the characters' names. While as in the movie, there were several people who didn't know anyone. Like, for example, after the movie, I was talking to my friend about it, and I mentioned Foxface. And she asked who Foxface was, and I had to tell her. And I think PETA said her name one time, and that was about it. So, it's one of those instances where the book actually complements the movie. So I would recommend reading it before you go see it. But that's not going to be a deal breaker or anything. Just trust me on that. And that's pretty much all I had with dislikes. And as I said, for me, that didn't really apply. But for another viewer, that might apply. I'll be honest, I don't think I got this feeling from any other book adaptation I've watched. And this might be because I just read the book. But when I was watching the movie, I felt like as if I was reading the words like behind the screen in some way. That's the only way I can describe it. It was just, they did such a great job with the adaptation, and I applaud everyone that worked on the movie. The movie is long. Some people complain about the length. A bunch of people, I guess, I don't know. But it's over 2 hours. I looked on IMDb, it's 142 minutes to be exact. However, it felt shorter to me. It was just pretty fast-paced, just pick up and go, and there was not one time where I was bored. Now, there were some people who said that it was boring at some points, but I was just entertained the whole time. And before this movie was coming out, while it was being made, a lot of people were shocked that they were trying to aim for a PG-13 rating. And while reading the book, I said, oh, this would be very easy to be a PG-13 movie. They were able to accomplish that, and after seeing the movie, I applaud them for that as well. Because if you don't know, that all the people in the Hunger Games are anywhere from 12 to 18 years old. This movie doesn't have like blood spraying everywhere, but there is some blood in there. And there of course is violence. But there are 12-year-olds getting killed in the movie. Now of course it's fictional and they're actors, but still that did surprise me, to be honest, when I saw that. So I knew what I was getting into, but I was just watching it and I was like, wow, you know, I will admit, now I am among those people that is surprised that it is a PG-13 movie. Do I think it should be rated R? No, but I was just surprised they were able to get it down to that rating. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't really seen too many movies in the theaters. I don't go that often, but let's see. This year, I have seen a fair amount. I've seen, and all of them are good. I've seen Chronicle, Secret World of Arrietty, 21 Jump Street, and this. And I will be honest, this is the best movie I've seen in theaters this year. All the others are great, but it's just, I loved this one. And in my opinion, I think it lived up to the hype. Now, time for the rating. I'm going to be ending this video, but for this movie, I thought about it and I had no choice but to assign 2 ratings to it. I didn't want to combine them in the middle like I did with The Darkness. If you watch my Darkness 2 review, I was torn between an 8 and a 9, and I just settled between an 8.5. I'm not going to do that on this movie. I think there are 2 different audiences, and they deserve 2 different ratings. The first rating, for someone who has not read the book, I'll give this an 8.5 out of 10. The reason why is because there were many things that were not super important to the story, but were shown on film that should have been explained more for viewers. And they really weren't, which was kind of unfortunate. But don't let this prevent you from seeing the movie. I highly recommend watching it, and if you can read the book before you watch the movie, that'd be even better. And for all those people like me who read the book and now are seeing the movie, I give this a 9 out of 10. It might be a little high, I don't know. And there's going to be people that disagree with me. It wasn't a perfect movie, but I absolutely loved it. And it was one of those instances where I wanted to pay more for my ticket because I felt like $3 was way too less for what I was watching. And while it was an excellent deal, I wanted the filmmakers to have my money. Now, I will be honest. This is the first movie I've seen in a while in the theaters where I actually teared up at a scene. And if you've read the book or seen the movie or both, you probably know what I'm talking about. And in addition to that, this is the part I'm kind of speechless at. The movie was absolutely, like, the moviegoers were absolutely silent. Everyone was just so entranced with this movie that they were completely silent. There's only been one other movie I've seen in theaters that did this, and it was Cloverfield. It was exactly January 18th of 2008, because that's the day it came out. And I remember there was a crying baby in there at the beginning, but it got to the point just everyone was so fixated, they were so focused on the movie that during the parts where the movie was silent, there was just dead silence in the theater. And if there's dead silence in a movie, that's a damn good movie. That's been my experience, at least. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'm sorry if this dragged on a little bit, and I'm sorry if I didn't add many things in, like I didn't add in extra videos or anything. I can't really put trailers for this just because, you know, copyrights and all that. But anyways, I will say, look down below. I'm going to put the IMDb link. Look to the side somewhere. I'm going to put a link to a movie trailer, and I highly recommend my personal advice to maximize how much you enjoy the movie. Read the book and watch the movie in that order. Thanks for watching, you guys. This is Mr. Mario signing off.